Hi, Trevor. How are you?
Very well indeed. And yourself?
I'm good. Good. Thank
Isn't it lovely to see this sunshine?
It is. It's a nice change. You know, I was up at the cottage over the weekend. It's beautiful up there this time.
Yeah. Whereabouts is it?
Oh, it's up in the Muskokas. You know, it's quite a ways up, but it's a beautiful drive, and you know, we just love it.
We're a bit closer. We're up at Otter Lake, but that's been really, really nice up there as well.
And by the way, thanks for sending that video over. Really enjoyed it. I watched it last night a few times. It looks like an interesting project. Tell me about that.
Yeah, well, it's quite long. It's about 3 or 4 weeks that we were there. It's a very similar company to yourself, and the guy is very similar. I think probably the overall numbers would be a little bit different, but the technology is very similar.
Okay. Have a seat.
Thanks very much.
All right, let's get down to business. I don't have a lot of time. Just give me your pitch.
No problem. But do you mind if before we start I ask you a few questions so that I make best use of your time and we only discuss the things that are important to you?
Of course, not a problem.
Well, I understand from our phone call that you look after corporate reporting systems. What improvements are you looking to take away from working with a supplier? I mean, what keeps you awake at night?
Well, that's a good question. I think my biggest headache is the returns and getting them to run reliably, because you see, we have a limited amount of computer power here.
So what precisely do you mean by the returns?
Well, these are daily reports that we run for the head office, and we run them nightly, and we run them here and they get shipped off to the head office for them to analyze.
So can you give me an example of the problems that you have with the returns?
Well, it's a real drag that these things take a lot of time. They take an enormous amount of time. I got to pay my staff overtime, and I got to get them processed, and I got to get them shipped out to head office in time for their returns in the morning.
And what's the purpose of the extract?
Well, the extract sends a lot of data to headquarters, which they analyze so that they can keep track of all their production requirements and schedule their work.
So can you give me an example?
Yeah, the FMCG turnover report is one. This is a huge report. It's about 30 gigs in size. It's all XML. We created one of our systems. We do an extract.
Let's not worry about the technology for the moment. What's the purpose of that report?
Well, it's to process the main lines of business so that head office can do their profitability analysis before opening time, and then they can adjust their promotions and their pricings, you know, for the day. This is actually one of the reasons why our company is so profitable.
So can you give me an example of another report, please?
Then there's the transactions report, which we build item by item, which highlights everything that we do here.
And what's the purpose of that report?
Well, it calculates our profits and our turnover, and it does all the same types of analysis.
And what do you get out of it?
Well, pretty much nothing. I mean, I get everything I need from our systems. You know, when it's not being clogged down by these painfully slow returns.
Are there any other reports that are a pain?
No, these are the ones that take up most of the time.
And what does the head office get out of these reports?
Well, they make us do all the work here to save them the money of buying bigger mainframes.
Ah, right, I see. So how so?
Well, you know, the truth is that they're really short on processing power, but they're also really short on money. And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to really reduce the capital expenditures. They're trying to save money because, you know, they've got to be prepared to fight this big loss thing that's going on.
Right. So let me get this right. Once we've got the HQ system working better, you wouldn't actually take any business benefit away from that project.
Well, you're not quite right, because I would save on overtime. I'm spending a ton of money on overtime, so I'd save on the overtime and it would cause a whole lot less stress for everybody involved.
So you're looking to run these reports quicker and with less effort and less stress. Is it hitting your bottom line as well?
Yes, you're so right.
So forgive my ignorance, but how much would it be worth to head office to fix this problem? I mean, for instance, how much is it costing them at the moment to run their systems?
Last I heard, they were staring at about $2.5 million just to stay current.
And what system do they run?
Well, it's actually a very old and cranky IBM thing that they've been running for years. It's actually the biggest in the world.
And what will happen if this problem doesn't get solved?
Well, if the problem doesn't get solved, HQ's load is going to be huge, which means the store's load is going to get huge, and it's going to get to the point where no amount of overtime is going to get these reports done by the time we open, and that will be costly. That will be hugely costly because we won't be able to do business in the morning.
How much would very costly be?
Well, I really have no idea, but somebody at HQ knows for sure.
Okay, so besides you, who else would benefit from solving this problem with HQ's processing power?
Oh, I'd say about 156 store managers.
I see. So if we were able to get headquarters to do this processing properly and would take less time and money, then they would benefit because they get better results, etc. But you, all of you, would also benefit in terms of time and stress, and I suspect overtime as well.
You got it.
So, in summary, your company is looking for a system that will run better in headquarters, and the benefits will be there and in the shops as well.
You're absolutely correct.
So is there anything else that you could take away from installing such a system?
Well, you know, there is one thing. We're highly exposed, actually. If our system goes down, if the run goes down through the night, then my support costs me an arm and a leg to spend the night fixing this thing and getting it back up and running before the extracts due in the morning.
Okay. Anything else?
Well, actually, yeah, you know, I play softball every Friday. But the problem is that with the way things are, I never know if I'm going to get out of here on time to make it to the game. I never know what position I'm going to play, and it kind of actually makes my wife a little bit cranky because she doesn't like it when I don't get enough exercise. So it kind of screws up the softball thing a bit.
Okay, so you're looking for greater processing power, lower cost, and less stress. And you want it sooner rather than later, right?
Yeah, I guess so. And if you could supply all that, that would make a big change in my business and a big change in my life.
Well, that's just great because it's exactly what we do.
Really?
Yeah. Well, we've been one of the largest outsourcing companies for the central government for about 20 years now. And as a result of our success in that, we started a subsidiary. And their focus is on doing the same sort of thing, but for commercial companies. And we split the technology away from the business, which has huge ramifications on the cost of the company. Not only that, but the team that built that have developed a thing called Quick Start, which means they can go from zero to live running in 3 months. And in fact, we did a recent project that was audited by Accenture, and we had some really quite remarkable results from that. Inside this audit report, there's also a financial discussion of exactly the financial benefits that came from that project. The company that was involved would be very happy to take a call from you if that was necessary. How does that sort of solution feel to you? Does it look right?
Yeah, that sounds great, but you know, I have no say in what happens in head office.
No, I understand that completely, but would the incentive of being able to solve your problems be enough for you to put me in touch with the right people in head office? And in fact, would it be useful for me to help you in building the business case? We have some standard templates that we built from previous projects, and we've taken figures from Gartner that we've had independently audited, and we take some figures from the customers, and it makes it very much easier for somebody like yourself to take a business case up the line. Would that be of interest to you?
Well, it would be pretty good to have a full business case. And, you know, it probably wouldn't do my career any harm. And it would probably help me at home in my personal life and my health. So, yeah, it sounds like a good idea.
Okay then, so who should you arrange for me to see in head office? And in fact, could you tell me about them?
Yeah, sure, of course. But, you know, before we get into that, I got to tell you, you've approached this whole thing in such a refreshing way. And, you know, the reason I say that is there was a colleague of yours here earlier this year, and all she really did was she sort of pounded me with, you know, products and features and benefits and functions, and she happened to hit on a couple of important things, and that's why I called you back. So what's changed?
Well, I was trained by a company called Hollis Associates, and our sales success has improved by 50% since we took their fearless selling workshops.